Greetings friends and fellow aliens, and thank you for tuning into this video. My name is David. I am an author, an INFJ, YouTube guy, all around decent human being, I think. I've come to you today to discuss the topic of why INFJs can be pretty crappy when it comes to being in relationships. I would like to give you my 5 reasons I think that INFJs struggle and tend to have a difficult time in certain personal relationships, romantic relationships, or friendships. And I invite you to chime in the comments and let me know if these resonate with you, or if there are other reasons you think that INFJs struggle, or if there's a particular part of you that struggles when you are in relationships. So let's have a discussion about this. Be nice down there. I don't tolerate jerks on my channel. I want everybody to get along. Why can't we just all be happy? We're all friends here, and fellow aliens, and all that. So let's get to it. Before I begin, I have a very special announcement to make for you. I currently have autographed copies of my book, The Caretaker, INFJ main character, supernatural story, 350 pages of awesomeness, overwhelmingly 5-star reviews on Amazon, and it's available now on my Square store. There is a link in the description, and also I'm going to put a video up here that gives you a little introduction and a little bit about it. You'll see that on the Square store as well. So if you are interested in a copy of the book and a very special opportunity to grab a signed copy of a piece of my original editing manuscript, it is available on that site. Please check it out. It's a great way to support me, this channel, that project, and all of these efforts to make some cool content so I can hang out with you. If you're not into the book thing, I have a link down there to my Venmo or whatever else. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So, to the topic at hand, 5 reasons that an INFJ is crappy when it comes to relationships. Maybe crappy is kind of harsh, right? So, there are reasons, I think, that INFJs tend to struggle, and we tend to be a little misunderstood sometimes because we just have certain quirks that tend to be in common. Now, again, I've said this so many times on my page. Just because you're an INFJ does not mean you are a certain way or think a certain way. The INFJ part of you is the hardwiring, right? It's the cogs that are turning everything. So just because you see some meme on the internet that says that you have Jedi powers does not mean that you have Jedi powers. Just because you see some meme on the internet that says, oh, you're an INFJ, so like you're a shut-in and you can read minds, doesn't mean that you're a shut-in who reads minds. We are all different. We all have different personalities, but the internal workings, that engine that powers the car that is you, those are really, really similar. So let's go ahead and cover a couple of those and see what's what. First on my list is the fact that INFJs are typically, generally, awkward people. I believe this comes from having NI as our primary function, right? That introverted intuition, because we are constantly looking back at things. We've got all sorts of stuff swimming around in our heads. We're making all kinds of connections to different things. So there's a really good reason that we are sometimes seen as socially awkward, or in the middle of a conversation, we may go on some completely alternate tangent from what is being talked about because one little thing was said that just rattles some kind of marble in there, that jostles something loose, that causes something to fall down, and all of a sudden we're remembering the end of a movie that we saw when we were 8 years old, and we had our dog next to us, and we spilled a bowl of popcorn, and the dog started eating popcorn, and so on. Like, all these weird connections end up being made, and we just run with it, because that's what our NI tends to do. How that shows in the social world, when you're just starting a relationship with somebody, is that it shows as kind of some weird awkwardness, right? We tend to like things that are dark, or we tend to like things that are geek-oriented or nerd-oriented. We have our own vivid, imaginative fantasy world that we're living in, so of course we'll gravitate towards things that are supernatural or a little strange or the weird or the melancholy out in the world. It's just something that we tend to absorb and we tend to enjoy because it feeds into our intuition and it lets us expand that imaginative internal world. You think about it this way. You may have this vivid imagination. You may have spent all kinds of hours and time in your own head, just picturing yourself somewhere, picturing some kind of a scenario or different thing, what you would be like if you were on a space station in Mars or what have you. And then all of a sudden you see some kind of a movie or something that hits a little close to home, something you really like. And you absorb some of that material into you, and all of a sudden, that has the ability to expand the boundaries of your internal world and make it that much cooler. This isn't a bad trait. It just makes us kind of awkward and random from time to time. As you may be aware, being awkward and random when you're meeting a new person and looking to get into some kind of a romantic relationship can be a bit of a challenge. And that's why it's difficult for us to really get ourselves out there and get into this and break that initial ice until somebody gets to know us. But it is a critically important thing to do, along with just being yourself and letting it happen. Listen, if you're going to fall in love with somebody and you want somebody to fall in love with you, the last thing you want to be doing is pretending to be somebody else. Be you. And that person that you resonate with in a very genuine and authentic way, they're going to love you for you. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's just difficult to get over the hump and actually get to that point without scaring people off because you're just kind of a weirdo. Again, it doesn't apply to every INFJ. We're not all weirdos. We just have a tendency to be a little awkward, especially when it comes to social environments and social gatherings. We can fake it. We are the original extroverted introverts because we need people. We have that high FE and we need to get out. We need to hear stories and all those kinds of things. So it's not like we're afraid of people. It's just that the interaction sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired. But that's okay. Just relax and be you. It'll all work out in some time. Second on my list, why we can be kind of crappy at relationships, is that we tend to idealize and fantasize, hitting on that vivid internal world. There are certainly situations where as an INFJ, you will see somebody, you will meet somebody, and all of a sudden, your head is going to spin out of control. You're going to picture yourself with that person for years. You're going to picture what the relationship would be like, what it would be like to live together, what it would be like to see them every day. Just all of these different things will flood into your head. You have that imagination, and your intuition is just constantly going to be pounding you with all sorts of stimuli and everything from prior memories and experiences and things that you've seen on a subconscious level and absorbed into your own head. We do have that tendency to have that bigger picture way of thinking. And so a lot of times we can be a bit much when we first meet somebody. I'm not saying that an INFJ is going to walk up to somebody else and be like, "Hi, I think we should be together forever." That's creepy. Please don't do that. Like, that's just one step above, "Hi, I have free fidget spinners. Please get in my van." We don't want to do that to people. That idealizing is okay. It's okay to just think of things and imagine things. But when you start to latch onto that and start to replace your reality with those images, those feelings, and those thoughts, now you're starting to run into some trouble. And this is why it can be difficult as an INFJ, especially in the beginning of a relationship. I think the main thing as an INFJ is to pump the brakes on yourself just a little bit and be like, okay, look, understand that things need to happen organically. Things need a chance to develop. Things need a chance to grow and be nurtured into something that is really valuable and wonderful. You can't do that if you're just spinning off and thinking all these crazy things. And please, for the love of all that is holy, if you've just known somebody for 2 weeks, don't go telling them about fantasies of being together forever, okay? Because, again, you might as well just buy the van and spray paint free fidget spinners on the edge of it and see who you can gather up in there, because you're being a little weird. I'm trying to help you people. That's all. I'm trying to help you, right? Like, you're going to be out there in the world and interacting with people. We need to do it in at least somewhat of a socially acceptable way, right? Right. Third on my list, we tend to forgive red flags a little too easily. Now, obviously, not everybody is the same here, because personal experiences will color how you interact with people moving forward, both in a good and bad way. You may have been very, very hurt or injured in a relationship when you were younger. And that is going to cause you to be very cautious and very wary of future relationships. It is fine to have a healthy amount of caution. It is not okay or healthy for you to shut down everything and shut down everybody as a result, because you're going to miss what could be fruitful, lifelong connections with people. That's truly sad. On the flip side, if you're the type of person that is just always forgiving all the red flags, well, you're essentially saying, hi, I'm here, walk all over me, doesn't matter, I have no boundaries and I'm not putting myself first, so I'm basically just here at your disposal. That is not a good place to be emotionally either. Like anything, it comes with a balance. You've got to have that healthy amount of skepticism and caution, but you also have to be willing to open your heart and your mind to another person if you're going to be in a relationship with them. Well, when somebody starts stepping on you and your intuition is speaking to you and you know that you're being treated in a way that isn't the way you should be treated, well, then it is up to you to set a boundary, to speak up, to communicate, to put your foot down and say, listen, this is not okay with me. And if we are going to be together and in a relationship, then this is what I need. And also, this is going to need to change. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just called communicating. You don't do it in a violent way. And you don't do it in such a way that makes the other person feel terrible. You don't do it as an attack. You do it as basically being firm and having your own back and saying, well, look, I have self-worth. I'm worth this. And the way I'm being treated right now isn't okay with me. So let's work on that. This is why. And if you're with somebody that loves and appreciates you, they're going to want to engage in that conversation because we want to be happy. And we want to be happy with other people. If you point out something that you see as a red flag and it is smoothed over, or that person gets incredibly defensive over it, that's yet another red flag. Now you've got to start having your own back and understanding that just by putting your foot down or by setting a boundary, you're not hurting somebody else's feelings. You're protecting your own. Think about that for a second. We are very willing, it seems, as INFJs, judging from thousands of comments that I've read about people struggling with this sort of thing, that we have this propensity to ignore red flag behavior because we're afraid of rocking the boat. We're afraid of what we might lose. We're afraid of upsetting the other person. We're afraid as coming off as needy, or we're afraid of coming off as high maintenance, or any of those things. Drop it. Stop that right now. You know what you're worth. Make sure that everyone else knows what you're worth too. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you are a valuable person to be with, somebody should see your value. And it's just all about being honest and openly communicating about it. Fourth on my list is a wonderful, joyous NITI loop. Now look, I've done numerous videos referencing the NITI loop. I will link to another one over here just so you can go see the whole spider cow thing, because for those of you who have been on this channel for a little while, spider cows is kind of our thing, right? We know what that's all about, just like the phrase congratulations and I'm sorry, which is what you should be told as soon as you find out that you're an INFJ in this world. We can overthink, and it can really carry us into ridiculous places. Sadly, it makes it way too easy to overthink when you're in this sort of game playing portion of a relationship, where it's the very beginning and you're wondering, do I answer this text now or do I wait like a couple hours? What's the cool thing to do? Just answer the damn text, okay? Like, can we stop just being idiots and trying to play these games? If you like somebody, you talk to them. It doesn't make sense to be like, well, I answered that one really quickly. This one, it should be at least 47 minutes before I answer, so they know that I'm interested in them, but I'm not like too interested in them. So it's like, it's okay. Like maybe there's a little bit of fear, but like I do want a relationship. Like just drop all that nonsense, please. Like it's ridiculous. On the flip side, you're sitting there wondering, Well, they answered one of my texts in 5 minutes, but now it's been an hour. What are they doing? Oh my God, they hate me. They're scrubbing my social media. They're looking at everything that I've done before. Oh no, now it's judgment. Oh no, they're going to find the picture that my mom posted of me when I was 7 years old and naked in a pool. Your head will go sideways with all of these ridiculous overthinking things, when the answer to it is probably simple, like that person just might be in the shower having dinner with their mom or something. So as an INFJ, you got to learn to relax just a little bit. This can cause problems in relationships. Overthinking will always cause some issues in your relationships. So do yourself a favor. When it's nighttime, it's 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or whenever you wind down to go to bed, turn your phone off, all right? Leave it by your bedside. If you can't turn it off, at least have it on silent. Don't sit there and be up and just going through all these things and then pick up your phone. I swear to you, your thumbs are going to start to go to that keyboard at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to start spilling out all those ridiculous overthinking things you've had in your head. Please just don't do it. Don't do it. 1 and 2 a.m. is the anxiety hour. It's the worst time to be engaging anyone in any conversation unless it's really important or you're both just tired and hanging out and it's all good. That overthinking, that loop, I promise you it will get the best of you in situations you're going to have to be walking back. That's why as INFJs, we write all this emotional stuff, we send all this emotional stuff to somebody, and then like the last couple things that we write, I'm sorry, maybe I said too much, I'm being too much right now, I apologize for existing, or whatever ridiculous things we do to try and walk it back because we're feeling awkward and like we went too far. Look, that's what overthinking does. Breathe, relax, and just communicate. It's not that hard. Last, 5th on my list, is the fact that we have a difficult time expressing how we really feel to people. Now, you may be thinking, I don't have a difficult time expressing how I feel, and perhaps you're really good at it. For a lot of INFJs, it is a massive struggle, especially if it is in face-to-face conversation. We can be very contradictory. Our introverted intuition is constantly bouncing all sorts of stuff around in our subconscious. It's gathering information, it's putting together puzzle pieces, it's merging everything together, it's trying to find the patterns, and it's really trying to give you a picture so you have that aha moment when things happen in the right way, and you can understand your world just a little bit better through your intuition. But because of that, and because we need to see things and have things out in the concrete world, it becomes difficult when thoughts are just in here and they're not obvious out, physical, where we can see them. So because of that, we can be seen as pretty contradictory. What do I mean by contradictory? It's the idea that as an INFJ, in order to understand how you feel about something, you have to get it out. You can't just have it rattling around your intuition and your introverted thinking, that NITI loop. You have to see it, you have to feel it, you have to experience it. So oftentimes we're seen as contradictory because we will say something and walk back from it because we know that when we said it, it's out in the world, our intuition hoovers it back in, and all of a sudden we're like, no, actually that didn't really feel right. And so we'll want to walk it back. This is why it is my firm belief that INFJs are excellent at written communication, much better than typically intimate one-on-one conversation or group conversation with people, especially when it comes to something that means very much to us. Because in the written word, we can write it out. We see it. I see my thoughts right there. I know what I'm saying to this other person, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's not going to come off quite right. It runs by my extroverted feeling because it's in front of me. And I imagine how that person might react to it or how it might be read. So I'll edit. I'll change it. I'll move the words around. I'll take what I want to say to somebody and I'll mold it. It's like malleable clay into exactly what I want. Then I can send it out and get it out to that person because I feel more confident about it. It's much easier to slip up and say something just off the top of your head that all of a sudden, as soon as it leaves your mouth, you're like, oh, that just didn't come out right. Now I got to walk it back. I have to say something different. I have to do something different. Now they're going to see me as awkward. And then all of a sudden, all these self-doubts are going to come into your head. So it really is a matter of, as an INFJ, slowing down just a little bit and making sure that you speak with intention. And when you're writing something to somebody, making sure that it is exactly what you want that person to understand, exactly what you want to communicate. This will prevent you from seeming like the very contradictory person a lot of people see INFJs as. We have a low FI, right? Your introverted feeling, and that's how you feel in your core about things. And for us, introverted feeling tends to be a pretty critical thing. We knock ourselves down, we're the worst, and all that kind of stuff. That negative talk can be really, really loud sometimes. So it's a matter of getting a handle on that, putting that aside, and understanding that it is okay to be you, but also understanding that in order to communicate and be with somebody, have a friendship, or have something that grows as a relationship in any way, that you're going to have to communicate, that you are going to slip up, you are going to be awkward from time to time, and that there are ways to actually get around it a little bit. For me, it's very important for me to be very direct and take really great care of how I communicate with somebody in written word. It is my preferred way to talk to anybody. I don't like talking on the phone. In person, I can handle. I'm actually more comfortable personally talking to a group than I am like a small group or like a pair of people or anything like that. And that just comes from years of running a martial arts school where I may have had 30, 40 students in front of me at any given time. So it kind of gives you practice to get over speaking to large amounts of people. But not everybody is like that. Not everybody has that experience. That is why we are different, but still INFJs. When it comes to that romantic relationship aspect of things, I really feel like the written word, communicating in the written word, be it a text or an email or a note or whatever, is becoming a lost art. We write things in text speak. Everything is short. It's OMG, LOL, BBQ, WTF, whatever, right? So being able to break out of that and actually say something that is from your heart, meaningful, uses full words and sentences and punctuation, which very few people do. Well, older people do. I mean, there's that. It's important. It's important to be able to communicate that way. It is, at its core, a romantic way of communicating in a lot of ways, and making sure you hone that. So somebody reads your words and reads what you're expressing, and they fully understand it. And they understand that you said that not flippantly, but said it in a very meaningful way to you. That's something that the right people will appreciate. And it's okay to do that. So listen, this list of 5 things are reasons that we can be difficult in relationships and have a hard time interacting with people and really furthering what it's like to be with one another. But there are silver linings to all of it. Yeah, you're an INFJ, you might be awkward, but you're also a gift. You have that gift of honing in on somebody else's emotions, really truly comforting them when they need comfort, or offering the perfect bit of advice that just gets thrown in there by your intuition at the exact moment it needs to. It's really quite remarkable when it happens, and it's a great feeling. Sure, you may idealize and fantasize, but also it's not bad to be a dreamer. Share some of those dreams when it's appropriate, and those dreams turn into goals, and those goals can turn into action on a daily basis. And that can really bring you in a relationship with another person to have a very direct vision of where you want to go. And it might be amazing. That's not bad at all. That's good. It's just a matter of nailing down the timing. You have that gift to see red flags. You also have that strong extroverted feeling. And so it is going to be difficult for you to stand up for yourself. But you know they're there, and your intuition speaks to you, and your gut feeling speaks to you. So use that to stand up for yourself and to make sure that your self-worth is not knocked down. And you are absolutely your own advocate, setting boundaries and communicating clearly in a loving way. And if you can do that, you're going to be okay. Your overthinking is going to happen. You just have to remember to breathe and be all right and step back extrovert it a little bit, talk to somebody else about it, get your feelings out and into the real world with a close friend or confidant so you can hear yourself saying things and you know that your overthinking might be just a little too much. Maybe, just maybe, you got to step back and relax a little bit and be that gift that knows how to express what they're feeling. You are amazing, and I have no doubt that you are truly a gift for anybody that you come across in your life. I hope this video has helped you. If it has, please like, subscribe, hit the bell. Please check out the books, the autographed books that I have available on the site. And like I said, if you want to support this channel, all the links are right there in the description. I would greatly appreciate it if you could do so. We are all in here together, building a really awesome community, and I appreciate you. So thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video.